Welcome to the channel 2 Wars. Any army at a certain stage faces challenges that cannot be solved with conventional means. The Red Army encountered them in 1944, when it was time for offensive operations, storming cities, and fortifying areas. After the war transitioned to a slightly different plane, moving from endless fields and sparse villages to built-up urban areas, the Red Army required a special unit for such tasks. The Germans skillfully constructed defensive lines with pillboxes and bunkers, meticulously and tenaciously securing themselves in sturdy buildings. To throw regular infantry against such defenses would mean condemning them to enormous losses. And ahead of the Red Army were dozens of such defensive lines and hundreds of fortified cities. The General Staff did not reinvent the bicycle. Recalling the idea of the Kaiser Army, they confined the assault units of Panzer Grenadiers, which Germany had successfully employed in the last years of World War I. The Red Army improved upon this idea. In addition to other weapons, Soviet stone troopers learned to use anti-tank rifles as large-caliber rifles. They were targeting the names of German snipers and machine gunners directly through the walls of buildings, steel embrasures, and pillboxes. The Special Forces Sapper units skillfully utilized sniper rifles, backpack flamethrowers, machine guns, captured Faust patrons, and of course, explosives. Special assault units were created within the engineering and sapper troops and were called Shisbr, Assault Engineering and Sapper Brigades. Sapper units traditionally possessed a high level of technical culture and tactical training. Around 20 Assault Engineering Sapper Brigades were formed under the reserve of the Supreme Command, with approximately 2,200 people in each. Only young, physically fit soldiers were recruited for these units. They were not immediately sent to the front lines, allowing some time for preparation. The focus was not on overcoming obstacle courses, but rather on practicing simple and effective hand-to-hand combat techniques with cold weapons and entrenching tools, sniper shooting, and grenade throwing. These were units of narrow specialization, designed to perform their tasks in close cooperation with regular infantry, tanks, and artillery. They provided engineering support for breaching the enemy's fortified defense line. After breaching one of these sections of the fortified area, the Soviet Panzer Grenadiers did not advance further, allowing the infantry to move ahead. The specialists were preserved for addressing similar tasks in the main directions of offensive operations. But before I talk about the armor of the Soviet Special Forces, I would like to remind you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. The most noticeable part of the equipment for a soldier in the Assault Engineering Sapper Brigade of the Red Army is a chest plate made of 2 or 3 millimeters of steel, weighing approximately 3.5 kilograms. It protected not only against small shrapnel and cold weapons, but even against bullets. The chest plate performed well in street battles, but in field conditions, it sometimes became a hindrance. You can't really crawl with a bent steel plate on your chest. Under these armor plates, soldiers wore padded jackets with torn sleeves to improve cushioning from bullet impacts. In winter, soldiers wore camouflage cloaks over their body armor. These fighters forced the Germans to retreat, as they were caught off guard. Veteran of the Assault Engineering Sapper Brigade Andrei Cherkashin recalled that during their training, they were pushed so hard that later in battle,
the weight of the armor was hardly felt. The legs carried themselves in a semi-attack.
The breastplates of the assault sapper units were nicknamed crabs in the troops, considering that the fighters in the Shisbr were physically strong and had substantial combat experience, along with skills in several military specialties. The trained nicknames carried no irony or mockery. One could indeed pay for any wisecracking with a beaten face. The main weapon of the Special Brigade soldier is the PPSH, the Shpagin submachine gun. Later, the PPS, the Sidyev submachine gun, was also issued. Cold weapons were also mandatory, primarily Finnish knives. The most accurate shooters were armed with sniper rifles, while the strongest soldiers were equipped with light machine guns, anti-tank rifles PTRD and PTRS, and ROKS-2 or ROKS-3. There was an abundance of all types of hand grenades in service, ranging from anti-personnel and offensive grenades to anti-tank grenades. Molotov cocktails were also used. Dogs were also used as search animals. In 1944, 5 Shisbr were even assigned engineering tank regiments equipped with PT-3 anti-tank guns and regiments of flame-throwing tanks SOT-34, with 20 combat vehicles assigned to each regiment. In the final stage of the war, a huge number of Faust patrons fell into the hands of the soldiers of the Red Army. Even better than for destroying tanks, they were suitable for breaking through walls and eliminating firing points in street battles. The craftsman even assembled a special device that allowed for the simultaneous launch of 6 to 10 Faust patrons against a powerful fortification. It was also used to breach particularly complex fortifications by launching direct-fire 300mm rocket shells from Katyushas. The effect was simply astounding. The Sapper Special Forces also learned to pass through the walls of buildings by skillfully using TNT to bring them down. All of this disrupted the entire built-in German order of the well-thought-out defense system. In Gdansk, the enemy's defense was breached by the assault group of Lieutenant Vadim Yefimov, which consisted of 10 automatic riflemen, 4 flamethrower operators, 4 soldiers with 60 Faust patron rounds, and 2 explosives experts equipped with TNT. Upon discovering a building the Germans, the assault troops spotted machine guns and neutralized them with Panzerfausts. Then they blew up the wall and directed streams of flamethrowers into the opening. A fire started in the house, igniting from the inside. Surviving enemies were eliminated in hand-to-hand combat. Thus, Efimov's group cleared 45 buildings of enemy soldiers in just one day. In the evening, upon reaching the shore of the dead Vistula, the assault troops encountered a fortified defensive point and 5 machine gun nests firing from the opposite bank. Yefimov requested fire support from the crews of 2 self-propelled guns advancing nearby. While the artillerymen and self-propelled guns were shelling the pillbox and machine gun positions, the assault group crossed over the skeleton of the blown-up bridge to the other side. After that, the stormtroopers threw grenades into the German trenches and cleared them out. Climbing onto the pillbox, they began pouring gasoline inside through the ventilation openings. The soldiers and officers in the pillbox realized they were about to be burned and surrendered. Vadim Efimov himself was nominated for the title of Hero of the Soviet Union for his skilled actions in Danzig. In Königsberg, the fortified building of the local theater became a tough nut to crack. Soviet tanks and self-propelled guns were engaging in intense fire on the fire points leading up to it and through its windows. The shelling was conducted over the heads of the assault Sapper troops, who were detonating the barricade obstacles during the attack, creating passages through them. As soon as the shelling stopped, the Soviet fighters rushed to the building, throwing grenades into the windows and breaches in the walls, and stormed inside from different sides. Then, the assault groups moved toward each other, securing one room after another. By making a breach in the wall, they threw grenades inside and unleashed a stream of fire, forcing the enemy to surrender or retreat to an adjacent room. Thanks to such skillful actions, the powerful defense system of Königsberg collapsed. The fighters of Shisbr had a lot of work even after the war. Like regular Sapper units, they worked extensively on demoning areas and conducting road and bridge construction. It is worth noting that the emergence of such specialized units can confidently be called a feature of a true professional army. What do you think? Were the assault brigades effective? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. All of this will greatly help its promotion.